personally don't know exactly which of the 200 tribes my family's ancestors in Mexico descend from, but I can tell you without a doubt they are not Aztec or Maya, because geographically that just would not be possible. Mostly places that were populated by Chichimeca populations. This is a map of central Mexico. My dad's family is from San Luis Potosí, and my mom's side is from right next to it, Zacatecas. The Aztec Empire controlled the most southern part of Mexico. On the left is the map of Aztec territory with Chichimeca area in the north. The Aztec Empire ends on the border of Michoacán, where the Purépecha Empire begins, as well as other Chichimeca tribes. The main Chichimeca tribes that populated Zacatecas were the Zacatecos, and the main tribe that populated San Luis Potosí were the Guachichiles. Chichimeca people are just any nomadic people that were in Mesoamerica, and that was a name given to them by other tribes like the Aztecs, barbarians in a kind of sense, because they had no political system, no centralized authority. They were just basically living off the land. I've been working on a project about the Purépecha Empire. In 700 to 1200 CE, that's when the formation of the Purépecha Empire started. And so all of this information is told in La Relación de Michoacán by Friar Jerónimo de Alcala. Before the existence of the Purépecha Empire, it was just a bunch of tribes in the region around Lake Pátzcuaro that were decentralized, disorganized. When they conquered these lands, they forged a single kingdom beginning with the great-grandfather of the past Casonsi. Casonsi is the name for the king of the Purépecha Empire, who ruled Michoacán, as will be told elsewhere. And this is just an excerpt from La Relación de Michoacán. It also has the origin story. Their god of fire and war is the god Curicauri. They have used this god to deem royal divinity and legitimacy as the rulers of the area of the land. This excerpt says, "You of the lineage of our god Curicauri who have come, those called Ineni and Ireti, our god Tripeme Curicauri wishes to reproach you and pities you. The lord of Naranjan, named Siran Camaro, learned that Ireti Ticatame had come to that very mountain and had brought here his god Curicauri." And it goes on and on saying that basically they're gathering at the hill of Uriguarampexo, the sacred spot where their god Curicauri first arrived with their ancestral leaders. So Ireti Ticatame is the person that brought the god Curicauri with him to the hill. And he brought it to Lord Siran Camaro, who was the lord of the land of Naranjan. And this area is north of Lake Pátzcuaro, which they are going to migrate south to. From this northern highland region of modern day, I think, Sacapú, Siran Camaro is like really honored that Ireti Takame is bringing this god to their land. And so Siran Camaro is taking this moment as like a moment of divinity that is like, wow, this is going to give me power in this area. So he gives a tribute to Ireti Ticatame, which is probably a woman, and this woman and him stay up the hill a couple of days, and then they end up having a child. The capital city, Tzintzuntzan, is a place of hummingbirds, reached about 30,000 people. Tzintzuntzan was founded as a Purépecha capital around 1325 to 1350, which is around the same time the Aztecs were also founding Tenochtitlan in 1325. Before Tzintzuntzan was the capital center of authority for the Purépecha Empire, there was, like I said, decentralized authority regions in towns called Pátzcuaro and Iguazio. So the shift to Tzintzuntzan in 1325 through 1350 marks when they started to centralize power and build their imperial structure through a man called Tariacuri, a Wakusecha noble from Pátzcuaro, one of the regions I had mentioned, who threw again more marriage alliances and warfare. So he used the divine authority of Curicauri. He said that basically Curicauri came to him in a prophecy saying that he was deemed to rule the region. And the way he did it was basically through a lot of religious intimidation. Like, these people were very religious and very spiritual in their ways. So if they saw something scary in the sky, like, they were pretty freaked out. La Relación de Michoacán says he went about placing arrows in the territories of his enemies, and made great fires so that the smoke rose high over the shore of Alterio. And when people saw the smoke and fire, they fled in panic, leaving behind their tools, fish, and blankets. Purépecha rulers would create buffer zones to slow down Aztec advances between the empires, because they were like basically bordering each other. And so both empires had a period of expansion and the Mexica Wars between 1476 and 1520. In 1476, the ruler of the Purépecha Empire was Tzitzi-Pandacuare. The Aztecs sent emissaries to Tzintzuntzan to demand tribute or alliance, and that really didn't work out. The Purépecha received the emissaries coldly, offering only symbolic gifts like fish and maize, which the Purépecha were known because of the lake as fishermen. A second group of emissaries were sent by the Aztecs. The second time, they were executed because they didn't get the message, I guess, that they didn't want to like hang out with them. In the History of the Indies of New Spain by Friar Diego Duran, who was a Dominican friar who chronicled the Aztec culture and empire, he talks about after this execution of these emissaries, the Aztecs planned an advance into Michoacan. Duran describes how the Aztecs, under the leadership of Emperor Axayacatl, launched a significant military expedition into Michoacan. Between 1476 and 1477, there was a clash between these two huge Mesoamerican empires. So, this was a direct military campaign by the Aztecs that was met in defeat. So this battle occurred between Taximaroa, which is in present-day Ciudad Hidalgo, Michoacan, and Charo. The Aztec army that came in was numbering 20,000 to 30,000 Aztecs. And they thought they could come in and defeat the Purépecha Empire. The number of Purépecha totaled 80,000. Moreover, the Aztecs had obsidian weapons compared to the Purépecha soldiers who had copper and bronze tools and copper and bronze pointed spears as well as bow and arrows. This was a very tough loss for the Aztecs, and it just sent them running, honestly. Basically, Tzintzuntzan is a fortress. It's a fortified city and has great defense and elevated terrain. Basically, the Purépecha have the higher ground the whole time, so it's really hard to invade their area. The Aztecs didn't stop there. The Aztecs sent more emissaries to Tzintzuntzan, and they sent gifts to reassert Aztec dominance. So these gifts were met by the ruler of the Purépecha Empire, then Tangazuan II, with the same similar response as the first time: coldness. They just wanted their independence at this time because they realized that the Aztecs were the more powerful empire, and they didn't want beef. They didn't want to execute anybody. They knew they couldn't handle another battle probably. And after the fall of the Aztec Empire in 1521, Tangazuan II had sent emissaries to the Spanish victors in forms of gifts like gold. Cortes and the Spanish gained more interest. So in 1522, Spanish forces were sent to the Purépecha Empire to Tzintzuntzan. Although with the smallpox epidemic, they still numbered 100,000, but they chose not to fight, and they chose to just submit to Spanish administration. And that gave Tangazuan a lot of leeway in ruling his area, and still basically let him be king for a while. Another Spanish conquistador, Nuño Beltrán de Guzmán, he was like just traveling through America, just looking for like places to conquer. He went through Michoacan, thinking that this place was like being ran by Spanish conquistadors, Spanish soldiers, but he saw that Tangazuan II was still ruling, and he was still the king of the area. The Spanish did what they loved to do. They got a Purépecha noble to betray the king and team up with Nuño de Guzmán, and so the Casonci Tangazuan II was tried for plotting a rebellion, withholding tribute, sodomy, and heresy. Basically was tortured for more information on more gold and more information on like just the Purépecha Empire. To be specific, bloodthirsty conquistador Nuño de Guzmán had Tangazuan II dragged by a horse and burned alive at the stake. So he was definitely murdered, even though he was more accepting and more hospitable to the Spanish. So Tangazuan II was the last Casonci of the Huacusecha dynasty family line, and after that the Spanish just established Purépecha puppet rulers that were just other nobles that they got under their thumb. There's so much to say about this empire. There's so much things I could have mentioned as well, but this is all I could fit in this short amount of time in this short video, so thank you for watching.